नाम गुड्डी चौहान है। मैं बाजड़ा समाज से हूँ। मैं अपनी ज़िंदगी के बारे में मैं आपको और क्या बताऊँ।
मैं गाऊं तुम गाओ, खुशियों के रंग छलकाओ।
नई राहें खोली है बाहें, तो क्यों न चाहे ये निगाहें।
एक आदमी पेट के लिए जो गलत काम करते हैं ना, जिनको इज्जत से अपने घर बैठ के मिल जाए बच्चों में परिवार में, उसमें ठीक है, कैसे ठीक है।
ये निगाहें कोई साथी भी नया,
ये अरमान कितने सपने दिखलाते हैं, कैसे कैसे तड़पाते हैं, दुनिया में कोई जाने ना।
In 1995, I had a friend who had been living in India, and she had an article written about the Bachata community. The article had been written many years prior to that. It was an article from 1988. It was written in India Today, and it described the Bachata community as being a matriarchal society where the women in the community were the eldest daughter of every family was a prostitute, but that they were held in reverence and treated with affection, and that they were empowered for that position. And that was something I couldn't really wrap my brain around, so I solely went to make that film. I thought, I want to make a film that celebrates a matriarchal society. And, you know, obviously we've seen films where women have been sex trafficked in the sex trafficking trade, and those are important films, but this felt different to me. So that is how I got introduced to it.
And how did you get introduced to each character that you decided to film and follow?
The very first character was Sangeeta,
Okay.
the lead protagonist's neighbor. And she was just getting into the business when I arrived in the community. So she was about 13, 14 years old. And she started singing and dancing for the camera. And I thought, great, how wonderful. But then she wasn't so interested in speaking about the roadside business, the prostitution. And I spent about 3 years trying to make the film as with her as the protagonist. And then it didn't work. And eventually I went back, and Goody, who is now our protagonist, came to us and she said, you know, you never film me. I see you filming all those girls over there. I'm willing to talk to you. Come with me. So the first shot in the film where we really are spending time with Goody is about 20 minutes into the film. And right after that conversation, we literally got into the car with her and we went on her ride to go on this clandestine trip to meet her boyfriend. And then Goody's story begins. She really used us to tell her story.
कहाँ जा रहे हैं हम गुड्डी?
मैं बता दूँ सच?
हाँ हाँ।
मैं अपने दोस्त से मिलने जा रही हूँ।
अच्छा।
अभी तो पापा को मालूम नहीं है।
पापा को नहीं मालूम है? ओफो, और कब मालूम चलेगा उनको?
मैं वापस आऊँगी तब।
तब बताओगे कि मिलने गई थी? वो जानते हो उनको?
हाँ।
तो शादी करोगे उनसे?
शादी पापा करेंगे तो करेंगे नहीं।
ये भी जाएंगे क्या साथ में? इनके गांव के हैं?
हाँ सभी।
छोड़ने आएंगे ना?
अच्छा ठीक है, ओके।
क्योंकि हम लोग डेम पे गए थे, वो डेम पे आए वापस।
तुम सागर को प्यार करती हो?
हाँ प्यार तो करती हूँ।
डोंट सच दैट, हाँ?
And when the film eventually didn't work after 3 years of shooting, you know, I started asking myself some more serious questions. Like, all right, so The younger daughters go into the business, all right? They're clearly the economic backbone of prostitution is the economic backbone of the community. They're not feeling free to talk about the business. Why is that? So they're scared. Maybe they don't have as much freedom as I had hoped they had. And if they don't have freedom, is that a matriarchal community? What is a matriarchal community? Is it the opposite of a patriarchal community? So I just started to ask myself some kind of harder questions, and I went back at that point with a willingness to just kind of give it all up and see, all right, what does this film want to be? What do the women want to say about their own lives? What do they want to say? And that's about the time that Goody found us, and that's when the film started to kind of take shape at that point.
Let's say 9 लोग हैं ना कम से कम आपके घर में
घरों में जो 4 5 6 7 8 9 9 तो वो हमारे घर है और हम 4 भाई बेटे हैं।
कितनी बड़ी है? क्या उम्र होगी?
13 14 थोड़ी 16
इससे बड़ी होगी?
13 है इसकी 13 15
अच्छा तुम होंगी 17 साल की है ना? ये 17 की होगी और ये 14 की होगी। 14 15 की है ना?
अभी मैं गया इनको लेने से बोल रहे हाँ
Ratanlal is a very different. Ratanlal is what you can say. Ratanlal is a combination of professional pimp and a bachda mein. He's a combination, and the combination unfortunately is very bad. Ratanlal has no values. Her only motto is earning money, and I don't think that Ratanlal thinks that he is doing bad for her daughters.
Most of the women, in fact all of them, are following the tradition with their mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers. They're on that trajectory. They're not questioning it. They're not necessarily being forced into it, but they just kind of grow up knowing that this is what I'm going to do. And Goody's different. I think in some ways we lucked upon somebody who was interested and willing to take any opportunity that came her way to break out of it. I think it's clear to her that she's not able to have children at a young age. Her sisters are having kids at 16, 17, 18, and by 19, 20, she still hasn't had a child. And I think so she takes her education a little bit further. She gets herself a boyfriend. She sees a film crew come in and she grabs onto us. So she's kind of looking at every opportunity that comes her way. And I think all of those things kind of help propel her forward and give her kind of the courage and strength to go down a very different road than all the other women in her community. There's a strength, when I look at some of my own challenges and obstacles in my life, and then I think about Goody and, her own perseverance. I was, mentioning before that I think this is a very universal story in some ways. Goody's a young girl trying to figure out who she's going to be with, what her job is going to be, how she's going to make money, where she's going to live. And that's not dissimilar from the very things I've grappled with, or my friends or young women anywhere in the world. And yet Goody's breaking this tradition that goes back who knows how long. So her own strength and courage to overcome those kind of challenges has certainly given me new perspective.